addressed my customers as an expert within the field of IT. Things have changed since then, because back then it was so limited. And even though it was complicated, I mean, you could actually grasp the full scope of it all. And today, no one can say that they know IT. They know of IT, but they don't know everything within the field of IT. Today, I say to my clients and to my audience that I work with helping on and making companies grow faster. To name a few, I have been to name a few of my success stories. I've been awarded as top business coach and e-commerce expert and top e-commerce influencers in the world. And this is all flattering, but for me, it's more about making something valuable to people like you in the audience, to make sure that whatever I have with me can be utilized and shared with other people, to make sure that you can go to your organization and make that run faster, run smoother, and to make your customers more happy, more satisfied, and especially long lasting. Because something that we will be talking about is customer and customer satisfaction, but also the customer journey and the customer life cycle. So all of this is a result of me working very, very hard for many, many years. I've been doing this for 25 years now. But at the same time, for me, this is a result of me doing the things that I love. To focus on the things that I find most interesting, that I find most rewarding, and in other ways building value to the world. I like to say that I work with saving people's lives, because in a way, I think that is what we are all doing when we try to optimize things. We save time, we decrease the effort of making something a success. We try to really smoothen the journey. We optimize the customer checkout, and we optimize how we communicate with customers, so that we try to only say the things that are bringing value, that builds on that long journey that we might see in terms of how we need to communicate with a customer before they actually become a customer, how we communicate with a user, a visitor, a potential client. So today I build and empower companies to make them into fast-growing organizations. It might sound a bit fluffy, but what it all is about is to understand and analyze a company from inside, to understand the bottlenecks, to understand the friction, to understand what it is that we want to achieve. But for that to be possible, it's important for me to always stay ahead of the game, to always try to look at what is it that we see in the future, how will things change. And for that to be possible, I look at all the different regions of the world. I try to understand what it is that works in one country or in one continent, which might come to another country or a continent, but also things that we try in Asia that doesn't work in US, or things that we try in Europe that does not apply in the Chinese market. Because understanding about the business logics and customer behavior and all of that is really important for us to understand how we can make the existing company scale faster. Without that knowledge, we're just shooting blanks. without that knowledge, we are trying things that might have been tried already. And we want to make sure that we don't waste our time as well. So where did it all start? I started to look at a very young age to understand things, not just accept things for what they were. I started to ask the questions. I wanted to understand why things was working the way they were, instead of just, it is this way, just accept it and go with it. Because if I were to just accept it, then I couldn't find other ways to attack the problem. Because by just accepting something, we're also given the solution. And if someone don't find the solution, they find a problem to be an impossible riddle, then if I don't look at it from different angles, I will not find those other methods that will actually turn this problem into a success, or but also a potential profit driver. By understanding the issues in more in depth, I can actually make things work with us instead of against us. But at some point, I realized that the things that I carry with me, all this knowledge, all this experience, could be of value to other people. So I started to do things like this. I started to talk in public. And the first time I stepped up on the stage, I was nervous, as most of us are. But at that moment, when that nervous feeling hit me, yeah, that maybe someone in the audience will ask a really tough question, or maybe someone in the audience don't agree with me, and maybe they don't like what I'm saying. And in the fraction of a second, another thought appeared in my head, and it was that I'm stepping out on this stage with a room full of business leaders, and I'm actually the expert within this field. There is no one in the room that can challenge me, because I have so much more knowledge, and all of them together within the field that I'm about to talk about. And with that feeling, I have been operating since then. I have been making sure that I have a very good and clear understanding about what it is that I want to deliver, and making sure that I can answer any question that might appear. Obviously, that means that I need to do my homework, so to say. I need to really look into understanding everything and about what it is that we are talking about today, about business growth and how to scale your online business. And soon after that, I heard about the study in the US. They have asked 2,000 people what they were most afraid of. And this is quite funny. Out of those 2,000 people, the second worst thing that people could imagine was doing public speaking. And on the fourth place was actually dying. So for me, as I love challenges, this was just another driver. It was the fuel in my engine. Okay, so people say that this is really, really frightening. It's something that most people are really scared of. Then obviously I need to try it out. I need to really push myself to do something good about this. And that's who I am. That's how I operate. Just like I mentioned with a problem, I look at things from different angles. Just like public speaking, I look at it from different angles, and I see there's so much opportunity to this. There's so much value that I can bring. So to ensure that I deliver on your expectations, I like to just address the topic of today. So today we're going to talk about how to scale your business. But more importantly, today is like a teaser session where I tell you a little bit about the things that I do. I will explain some areas on a high level, and then if you're interested, we can step deeper into specific topics. Or maybe you and your organization find that this is something that we really agree on, but we want to understand more about it. Then we can look into that. Sorry. So for any company to be able to do something good, to be able to actually make a difference, we need to understand what it is that we want to achieve. We need to put up some vision or some goals. We need to make sure that the organization as a whole is going in the right direction, that everybody's running in the same direction. So first of all, we like to talk about visions. We like to look at what it is that we want to achieve on a very, very high level. And then we want to put out some goals. So the difference between goals and vision is that vision is something that we see long ahead and long in front of us, something that looks very, very challenging, but yet a possible achievement. While a goal is something that we see that we can do in a reasonable amount of time. It should always be something that is hard to get to, that where we really need to struggle, because otherwise just going for the easy wins will not make us a business leader. It will not put us in the position where we are a market leader within our segment. And obviously you want to become a leader. You want to become the owner of your business segment. You want to scale your business and so on and so on. So a company should always have both goals and vision. And for you to be able to define these things, I like to think about what it is that you want to communicate to your customers. The why. Why is it that your company is better than someone else? Why is it that your clients should choose your offer over someone else's offers? And why do customers choose you? So all of the things that we will be talking about now could be addressed as a type of workshop or study or whatever you like to call it, depending on what organization you're running. What you want to achieve is a mutual understanding within the organization. So we could start with, why do customers choose you? The obvious answer might be that you're the best within your field, but best in what way? Do you have the best price? Do you have the best communication, the best ads? Do you have the best customer support? Do you have the best ratings? All of these things are combined in when we talk about the best of the best customer experience, basically. So I suggest that you start looking at this and understand within your company, what is it that you think you're best at? Because I assure you that your company, your organization will think that you're best at different things. When you start talking to the different people within your company, the different teams and the different individuals, I'm sure that they will tell you you're best at different things because they have not understood the full width of what it is that you're offering. But also, talk about what you're not best at. Because if you're already best at something, that's great. But you should not get lazy as a result of that. When you know what you're best at, then look at the things that you're not best at. Start to address those topics. If you don't have the best ads, if you don't have the best search engine optimization, if you don't have the best customer support, if you don't have the best ratings online, and so on and so on, then try to look at that and try to get your organization aligned around this goal. Put this up as one of the goals for this month, this week, or this quarter. We want to make sure that this month we turn our ratings around. If everybody aligns around this goal, you can do it in record time, rather than if you tell one individual within the company. It would be good if you change our aligns around this common goal. You will change it in really quick time. And as all of us know, all statistics show that customers do research nowadays. Customers look at what it is that they would like to buy. They look at reviews about the product, but they also look at reviews about the stores, how other customers have experienced their purchase customer journey and their expectations and their appreciation around how you as a company is working with them. And then start looking at what is it that you want to achieve. And obviously what we want to achieve is growth. But connected to what we just talked about, why customers choose you and what you're best at, then maybe what you want to achieve is to define those different goals of things that you can get better at. And look at the organization. What do they think they're aiming at? What do they use as their internal drivers at this moment? Because again, an organization is quite scattered at most times. Everybody is working on different things. They think that they're working at one direction, but in reality, they're trying to protect their area to make sure that whatever they do is solid, that they deliver the value that they think they should deliver. So how do you define that? How do you define those values? How do you define the internal drivers? By talking to people. That's the best way. Not by doing a presentation, not by sitting as I do now, having a monologue. You need to have a dialogue. You need to communicate with people. And not just internally. You need to communicate with your customers. You need to communicate with your visitors, the people that come to your store and don't buy. That's where you're going to learn the most. To actually address the elephant in the room. What is it that is not good? Why did you not choose us? And you will learn much things within these areas, and you will understand more and more as you go. But also try to look at it as on a team level, because if one team believes that they should do something in one direction and focus all their effort on moving the company to the right, and the other team is focusing all their effort on moving the company to this side, then obviously you have two teams running in two different directions. And in every meeting they attend, they will be telling everyone in the meeting that we're running in this direction, and the other team will be saying we're running in this direction. And obviously, after a while, these two teams are so far apart that getting them to work together is going to be very, very difficult. That's where you damage your customer experience. That's where you damage your growth and your potential revenue as well. You need to make sure that everybody's aligned. And it's up to you to make that happen. The next thing is to look at your customers. If we started with why customers come to you, then talk to them and see how they experience that. When they come to your store, what is their experience? What is it that they want to achieve? And how do they feel that you're supporting them in achieving that? A customer journey online might be considered as a couple of clicks, but in reality, it's actually emotions. It's emotions that drive our purchase decisions. It's not the click of the mouse. How can you collect those emotions? How can you understand what it is that your customers feel when they visit your store? How can you make sure that the next time they visit, they add more and more and more positivity to those emotions? The only way to do that is to actually have that dialogue, to communicate with them and make sure that you reach out to them and reach into a state where they share that information. It's not easy because everybody will nowadays are so hesitant on sharing information. So the classical way of just showing up a form, click here, click here, click here, is too boring. It's not engaging for the visitor. So you need to find other ways to show that you really care. A company that I worked with a couple of years ago, they used a really interesting method of trying to make sure that customers felt special. They sent out a couple of hundred handwritten letters to their customers. It was a handwritten letter in an envelope with the address written by hand on the envelope. We don't get that any longer. We don't get envelopes that are written by hand with my address on, my name, and all the information. So when we receive that, we think it's from a relative, it's a birthday card or something like that. So we do open it, and when we read it, we see that, okay, so this is a company that sent me a really personal message. They took the time to actually invest in understanding what it is I care about. Okay, so maybe I'll just give them some of this information, because obviously they care about what I say, they care about what I feel, they care about me as a customer. And that is what it's all about. If we really dig into it, if we really want to understand how to build fast-growing organizations, how to make more money, how to make our companies more profitable, it's about sorry. It's about understanding that, understanding your customers. And I say this over and over again, because I've been saying this for so many years. And still, when I work with the companies that I work with, most of them have still not understood it. They still don't get the level of interest they need to show to their customers. They still work as a big organization with big systems, where the systems are the drivers and the system defines how to communicate with the customer. When it should be totally opposite, and where we look at the customer and the customer information should be defining how we communicate with the customer. That information about how we communicate with the customer should define how our system is operating. Because there's not a customer out there that like to come to a website and then have to learn how to operate the website. They expect the site to be intuitive. They expect certain things from the site, and they expect support. In what way that support is handed to them doesn't really matter. As long as they get that emotional state of I'm taken care of, they care about me, and I am special to them. That's what it's all about, making that extra effort. So use that as one of your homeworks for today. Look at your site, look at your customer experience, look at your company. How do you communicate with customers? How do you show them that you care about? Because if they don't feel that they are cared about, why would they come back? If they compare your offer with another offer and the price is the same, the delivery information, the delivery time is the same, then why would they choose you over the other one? Obviously, this is what affects your loyalty, how loyal customers are towards you and your company. And one of the most important factors that we will be looking at is loyalty, because it connects directly with what we have just been talking so much about, to understand your customers. But if you don't understand your customers, you cannot build loyalty. If you don't build loyalty, you have not understood your customers. And with loyalty, we generate returning customers. Because today, if we look at the statistics, we invest tons of money into customer acquisitions. But that is a different budget segment. The customer acquisition might be in terms of ads in different ways, or search engine optimization and so on. And that's all fine because we see that we drive traffic to the site. We also calculate the conversion and see that, okay, so out of this amount of visitors, we converted these many. And then we look at the statistics globally and we see, okay, so we convert about 2.5%. That's good, I assume, because that's what the other big companies are converting. Does that really mean that that's acceptable? Do you think it's acceptable to have that low conversion rate? Yeah, if you compare yourself. But then we're at that first stage again, where we don't ask questions, where we just accept things for what they are. And by now you know me that much that I don't believe in just accepting things for what they are. I believe that we all need to make an extra effort. I believe that all of us need to ask, not accept. Because your job and also your personal interest should be in making something good of what it is that you're doing. So anyone can set up goals. You can just walk into the room and say, yeah, we want to be the best and the greatest. Okay. Maybe that's more of a vision to be the best and the greatest because it's so vague and unspecific. So first of all, let's look at if the goal is deliverable. Can we achieve what it is that we want to do? The best and the greatest, yeah, we can achieve it, but we need to look at it more in detail to say if we really can. Is the goal too broad? If it's too broad, then it's going to be difficult for us to actually measure if we have achieved it. And if it's too big, we won't be able to align our teams around this common goal. We won't be able to make sure that everybody work on the same thing. We won't be able to motivate and inspire in the right way. And if it's too diffuse, then again, everybody will be working on different things. And we want to align our energy around one thing. So make sure that you, when you set your goals, have all the people within the organization understanding the goal in the same way, that it's something that is achievable, but that you need to fight for, and something that actually makes a big difference. And then step back again and look at, how did we come up with this goal? What is it that we want to achieve? And maybe after doing all this work, you realize that there is more to it. You have learned something by asking these questions. And all of a sudden you look at this goal as a new thing. Because in the beginning, maybe the goal was just something that you put on a high level that you want to achieve, but now by asking all these questions, you understand more about the goal. You understand that maybe that goal is actually this other thing that we want to do. Maybe it looked like something that we want to achieve, but now we understand more, and we understand more about the climate and the information out there and the competitors. And we realize that whatever we want to do is different. We want to achieve something better than our competition. We want to do something in a different way than our competitors. And it's all connected to understanding what it is that your customers are looking for. So let's look at the customer again. Because for me, a customer is so many different things. A customer is someone that comes to the store, obviously. They move around and eventually they choose to buy something. But if we look at the full customer journey, they might have been visiting your site 3, 4, 5 times before they actually decide to make that purchase. That's what we talk about when we talk about the full customer journey. When most companies look at the customer journey, they look at, okay, so this is where the customer came to the site. They clicked around, they came to this product category. In this category, they chose this product. They chose what color or what size or whatever. And then they clicked the buy button. They went to the checkout and they proceeded via entering their payment information and their shipping details. For me, that's not the full customer journey. And for most customers, that's not the customer journey. Because it's so much more to it. There's something that was happening before the state when they actually clicked buy on the buy button. The customer's probably been visiting your sites a couple of times before. Every time you have been building on their trust. You have been giving them information about what it is that they can expect from you. Maybe you have had some sort of sale that was expected, Black Friday or Cyber Monday or some other information that boosted your sales. But they didn't go for that. They chose to wait because they didn't trust you enough yet, or they didn't need the product enough yet. So after a couple of days or weeks even, they came back to the site again. And now it was as a result of you doing some ads in social media. You used a meta tag and pixel installation in your site to maybe be able to communicate with the customer again without knowing who the customer is. By using smart methods online, which I'm sure you already know of, you had the ability to send targeted ad to this customer. And the targeted ads often are specific products that you show. This is a product that you looked at on our site. Why don't you come back and buy it again? Or why don't you come back and try to buy it? But as this is a new customer, you might consider that if I want to invest in this customer, then maybe I need to actually think about the triggers. What is it that made this customer not buy in the first place? By just pushing more and more ads for the same thing that they looked at over and over again, yeah, the repetitive behavior might convince the customer to buy it. But in most situations, the customer have chosen not to buy it yet. So you need to understand why they didn't choose to buy it. And in very many, and that trust is what is so important. And there's different methods that we can apply to build that trust. But just showing the same pair of shoes over and over and over again is not building trust. To show the value that you bring to other customers, to show how you care about customer experience, how you care about customer journey, how you care about customer life cycle, and all that, by asking those questions to yourself, to your teams, you will find the answers on how to build trust to your customer segment. Because customers are different within every segment. Customers are different within every country. Yet we try to communicate with them in the same way all over the world. But the expectations are different. The possibilities are different. The size of the wallet is different. The device they're using is different, and so on and so on. Today we have most projects being built mobile first, where we build our e-commerce experience sure that it's working on all the other devices as well. Just a few years back, we were assuming in every situation that we were building the e-commerce experience for a computer. And even more interesting is that nowadays we have people that are born with a mobile device as a first device. Just a few years back, we looked at kids sitting by computers as their first device. So not just mobile first, but actually been using the mobile as the first connection with internet. To us, as we just go about our day living our lives, that's obvious. Yes, it is obvious. But when we plan these projects, we tend to forget about these obvious things. We tend to not understand the full scope, the full width of possibilities. So again, remember, ask a question, why do we do it like this? Why do we do mobile first? Yeah, because Google say that mobile first is required in terms of optimizing your site, because nowadays Google look at your mobile view and rate that to build their scoring in terms of how you're positioned in Google and the search engine, other search engines as well, of course, but they don't care, or they don't care much about your standard website, the laptop or the computer view. They care about the mobile view. But is that what it's all about? Is it all about search engine optimization? No, it's all about customer journey, customer experience. But just like I've been talking about now over and over again, for me to deliver the best experience for any company, I need to understand more about the company. For me to deliver the best experience to you guys, I need to understand more about you. So that's why today is just like a teaser session. I'll tell you a bit of bits and pieces of different things that we normally look at. But for me to deliver real value, I really look forward to working directly with you and your team or your organization, your company, or maybe your segment, the entire area that you're operating in. And that's what I do when I work as a speaker. I make sure that the topic that we're addressing is aligned with the expectations from the audience. That the expectations from the audience are addressed straight away when we start talking. And what's also very, very important for me is that there's room for the dialogue. So now I've been going on and off for 45 minutes in a monologue. And I just want to make sure that I don't lose any questions that we have. So let's see, do we have any questions that we'd like to talk about straight away?
Hello, everyone.
So let's drop the question in the chat, and I'll keep on talking, and I will interrupt myself as soon as I see some questions, basically. So what we started talking about today is how it all started for me as a 16-year-old kid. And it's always a bit challenging for us to believe in ourselves in a way that that we dare to ask these questions. It's often said that that I have a stupid question that I like to ask, or it's common that we are a bit shy and don't trust that we can ask these questions, because maybe people think that the question that we're asking is so obvious. Didn't this person understand this already? But by addressing questions, we can actually dig deeper. We can understand more about what it is that we want to achieve. We can understand more about what challenges you're coping with, and what it is that you want to understand more. So there are no stupid questions. And for me to be able to share more valuable insights, that is where we need to start. So if you don't feel that the question is suitable for this, or directly to me with your questions, so that we can make sure that you boost your growth, and that you make sure that we superpower your company to be better fit for the next year, and how to outsmart your competitors. Okay.
We have one question which is dropped in.
Yes, I just noticed. Is there mid shift or consumer buying behavior shifting from product features to how to buy online or how to order online? I'm not sure. I'm just understanding the question. Dr. Rishad, would you mind explaining a little bit more?
Hi, Dr. Rishad, are you with us? Yeah.
Okay. So consumer buying more towards value chain than focusing on product features and product benefits. If I understand the question correctly, I would say that it's definitely value chain, but it depends on what type of product it is. It depends on what it is that you are offering to the customer, because what we'll see is that these customers have some sort of expectation, and the expectation is often connected to a need or requirements. So for these requirements to be delivered upon, we need to understand more about their expectations. But the value chain is what it's all about. Not that there's these 3 buttons, but these 3 buttons on this product deliver on the requirements, and that we can show the value of these 3 buttons on this box. Let's take a burglar alarm, for example, that have many different features. We have the sensor inside, we have the camera, we have the alarm, siren, and so on and so on. Obviously, this is a feature package, but what it is that we want to sell is trust, security. We want to sell that people can relax about their lives. We want to sell the experience of the value chain. We want to make sure that they not just buy once. We want them to get back and further improve their sense of security, their protection package. So definitely it's a product with different features, but we want to build on the value chain. We want to communicate with the customer. We want to make sure that they build on their experience with you and their relationship with you connected to the value chain. Thank you. What are the cost implications for the generic plan? I'm not sure I understand that question. Okay. Maria, how do you balance consistently trying to build trust by protecting your previous successful executed services and selling your services online? Is there a ratio that can be considered a fine balance? Okay, so obviously we want to track data that we're running. We want to make sure that we can see that as we do a change, there's either more orders or less orders. But that's when we talk about the conversion goals. That's when we talk about the final conversion. And when I look at conversion goals, I always look at multiple conversion goals. So the first goal is to get the customer to know about us. The second goal is to get the customers to get to the store. The third goal is to get the customer to trust us. And way later, we actually see the final conversion goal where the customer makes their transaction, where they buy something from us. But before that happens, there's lots of things that we need to provide to the customer. We need to provide that trust. If they don't trust us, they will not buy from us. They might buy from you if you have a really, really low price, but if that price is too low compared to other competitors, then you lost trust again because your price is not logical. Basically, it must be a scam. That's the idea that people get. So instead of looking at the ratio, it's better that you on your own define what it is that you want to achieve. So set up goals, set up conversion goals and mini conversion goals, or the customer journey as a full customer journey, what you think happens, and then talk to customers. Talk to customers, call them up by phone and say, hi, I work within this company and I saw that you placed an order. I personally is really interested in understanding more about you and what made you buy from us, because I care about that. And as you talk to them, you can start asking about their full customer journey. When did you hear about us the first time? Oh, did you hear about us on radio? Okay, we don't do any radio ads, so that's super interesting. Oh, so it was a talk show where they talked about different things. Oh, nice. And that made you what? Okay, so then you didn't do anything. But then when you saw the ad on Instagram, you were reminded and got interested in us again, and things like that. So it's really important for you to invest that time to understand more details about how you build trust. Sorry, there's another question. I would like to ask if there's theories are applicable worldwide or if they're restricted to the Middle East. Some of these theories I would apply worldwide. Some of the theories are more about the segment. The easiest way for you to know if it's applicable or not is to just use a theory for a couple of data sets, individuals in this case, and see if it's applicable. If you get the response, if you get the information, and if you get the knowledge that you're looking for. So to address that question a little bit more, Middle East is a different market for sure. Just like China is a different market, and Europe is a different market, and US is a different market. But what we know that is the similar thing independent on market is that customers want to feel special. Customers want to feel that they can trust you, the store owner. They want to feel that they are supported, that you provide them with what they're looking for before they have to make an effort. And they want to feel that if there's a problem, they don't need to worry about it. Okay, the next question is if there's any new e-commerce trends we should prepare for, and yes, there's tons of new e-commerce trends. I will be talking much about the next different technical solutions and trends in my social media accounts, so you can follow me on basically any platform that you prefer. But if we look at it right now, today, I would say that gathering data is something that we should have done for a very long time already. With that data, we can apply what's called machine learning. That's the first level before we apply AI. So with machine learning, we build basically recipes. This is the information we have. This is how we manage the information and basically draw conclusions, and the output is how we want to proceed. While AI works without the recipe. Basically, we have this information and we want to improve over here. We want to improve whatever it is that we want to improve. We want to improve conversion. We want to improve customer satisfaction. We want to improve customer life cycle, and so on and so on. And then in between that, the AI find their own recipe. They define their own rules, basically. So that's the big difference between AI and machine learning. So machine learning is more limited, but it's also maybe easier for you to manage. While the AI will be able to work on a massive amount of data inputs and a massive amount of outputs, but you need to understand the complexity in AI before you start looking at that. And that's why there's many different solutions and softwares out there that you can use that already done all that hard work for you. So basically, they have an AI They have designed a path for the AI to follow, not a recipe, but a path with a scored output. So this is what we want the AI to deliver on. This is what we want to improve. And of course, chatbots. Chatbots originally was connected to someone chatting directly with someone, or that's a normal chat. And then chatbots came, which was very much connected to an frequently asked questions database. And then that FAQ became a machine learning model. And the machine learning model had now been improved to be an AI that do the chat. And what we see today is that we have AI communicating with consumers, and in the background, there's a layer of people that step in when needed to support the AI. Okay, and we are out of time. Do we have any more last questions? No.
No more.
Good. So if you like to talk more with me, then reach out to Mena Speakers, and we can set up a meeting or an event or a session, depending on what your requirements are. And I thank you for joining today. I hope that what we talked about today was of value to you. Obviously, there's lots of information, but in essence, I think that there's many areas that you can take with you and improve your organization from within.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karl, for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. If anybody from the audience have any questions or something, just to write it to us at info@Mena Speakers. We will pass it over to Karl for the answers. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.